So Laura, can you tell me more about your relationship with your boyfriend?
Yeah, so we've been dating about 5 or 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and we met on the internet, which I never thought I would meet someone that way, but I haven't been in the dating world in almost, like 15 years, so it's a lot different. And at first I didn't really like him, but we had a lot in common as far as we both have 2 kids about the same ages, and we enjoy similar activities. So we ended up actually kind of getting together as friends, and then it kind of turned into more. But as I told you in our last session, I'm just really having a hard time with the blended family thing and some different parenting practices, and it's just been hard.
So let me just make sure I have this right. You and your boyfriend have been together for a few months, and you met online, and you both have children. So in your relationship, you guys have been trying to work on what that would look like, and sort of blending your family together.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this summer I was not working, and he has kind of accrued, he's a firefighter, and he had accrued a lot of time off.
Okay.
So we had an abnormal amount of time together with our kids, and we actually did an RV trip with all 4 of them in my grandma's RV, and that was hell. I thought it sounded fun, but it was really bad. But somehow we're still together after that, so that's a good thing. But yeah, it was almost like too much too fast, and maybe it's one of those things that we just need to slow down and talk about. But it's also uncomfortable to bring up, like, I don't know, it's awkward to bring up things. I don't want to feel like I'm picking on them.
So it seems like you feel strong in your relationship, but that you also feel like there's just some things you need to work on together.
Yes. Yeah, because being a parent, there's so many little values that you wouldn't necessarily, I don't know. It's a lot. And it's a lot to try. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's kind of overwhelming. And his son definitely has some behavioral issues, which I've already told him I couldn't see marrying him anytime soon because I don't think I can live with his son. So
could you tell me more about how your children and your boyfriend's children interact, especially knowing that your boyfriend's son has some issues?
Primarily, they're pretty good together. The older daughter, Riley, is 9, and she plays really well with my daughter, Lucy. And she's kind of like a good big sister and takes care of her and stuff. But Brennan, his 7-year-old, and my son Henry is 7 as well. And Brennan uses a lot of words that are not allowed in my household, like stupid and dumb. And he's pretty defiant and talks back a lot, which I'm not used to. My kids are by no means perfect, but they do know when I mean business, and they mind me when, I don't want to say when I scare them, but they know when to mind me. So I'm not used to having a kid that, when you're trying to talk to them, he'll cover his ears, and he tries to run away, and it's awkward because I feel like I'm overstepping my bounds to discipline, but because it's not my kid, but then at the same time, he needs to be disciplined, and I'm there, so I kind of feel guilty if I don't. So
family in raising your children is very important to you, and you want to make sure that your children are in the best situation possible, and you're starting to get to know your boyfriend's children, and you're sort of trying to figure out what your role looks like as in their life.
Right. And I'm also kind of worried because I think I might be a terrible stepmom, so I have to kind of, because I don't know that I could, it's really mean to say, but I don't know if I could ever love those kids as much as I love my own kids. Granted, I've only known them a few months, but maybe I could. I don't know. I guess I kind of felt that way about my daughter when she was born, too. I didn't know if I could love her as much as my son, and now, of course, I do. But I don't know. Like, I never thought I would be a stepmom. It's the whole thing. It's almost like I instantly had two more kids, and it's kind of overwhelming and scary. And I don't know if I'm ready to just be like instant Brady Bunch family. So
I definitely understand how you could feel, like you said, overwhelmed with all of that, and especially a little fearful about what the future might hold with having a blended family.
right, yeah, it's I don't know. Even like, and everybody assumes that the boys are twins, and that I'm the mom of all. And a lot of times I do have all, and I can handle it, but it's kind of like more than what I bargained for, I guess. You know, like I never aspired to have four kids, so it's more than I would necessarily want. But at the same time, I do love them, and I don't know. It's just kind of a lot of change. I was only divorced like a year and a half ago, so to go from being divorced to, you know, I've been away from my husband and that family for 2 years, and now to, I don't know. It's just a lot in a short amount of time.
So you've had a lot of changes recently, and I'm sure that means that your kids have had a lot of changes, and so it's just a lot of adjustment.
Right, and I also want to protect them, and I just hope that, I don't know what the right thing is. I've taken them to counseling, and maybe I did introduce them to him too soon, but it was intended to be friends, and then it ended up being more, so I don't know. It's because, of course, I want to protect them, because I'm also worried, what if we break up and now they're really close with these kids, and I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm future trip about all this stuff, like, what if you cheated on me? Then the kids would, you know, I don't know. I think about all these things, or what if I want to break up with him, or I don't know. There's a lot more consequences than just him and I feel I don't know, like I would need to make it work for the kids' sake. And we're not even married, or we don't even live together. But
could you tell me more about we talked about your relationship with your kids and your boyfriend's kids. Now, how is the relationship between your boyfriend and your kids? Do they get along really well?
He is really good to them, and I think they almost like him more than they like me. So he's really fun, and my son really needs a positive role model in his life, and so it's really nice to have somebody that plays with them and pays attention to them and does fun things with them. And he has his kids less than I have my kids, so there's a lot of times where he comes to hang out, and it's just my kids and him. And he plays Barbies with my daughter and things that her dad would never do. And if he's not there, they're always asking, well, when is Justin coming over? And like last week when I adopted a new puppy, and the first thing they said was, well, can we go to the fire station and go show Justin? And they love him, and he's really good to them. He doesn't discipline them very much, but it's not that he wouldn't. I just, I'm kind of protective of that, and I'd rather keep that for me to do right now. But, at the same time, he has watched the kids at certain times where I haven't had somebody and I'll be at class or something, and he has told me things that he's done, and it goes along with what I would do. So it's, he's really good to them. I can't say anything bad.
Well, it seems like you are very, satisfied in the relationship that they have with your boyfriend.
Right. It's more, that part's really good, and the part with him and I is really good. But the part with his kids and myself is good, because they actually respect him more than they respect me. But I think him and his kids are the ones that kind of, like, his kids do not respect him. Somewhere along the lines, I think maybe from hearing what they hear from the mom, they've learned to not listen to anything that dad says. And so there's just a lot of back talk and a lot of things that go on that they don't even do that to me. But I just don't want my kids to be part of that. And I also don't think it's right for, I don't know, it's not good. And I don't know, I'm not a child psychologist. I don't know what the proper thing is. I've been reading this book called Conscious Discipline, which has some really good principles in it. But he actually started going to counseling because I recommended it for his kids. He's not bringing the kids, he's just going to someone to talk about it. But It's just a lot. So I don't know. I'm just trying to sort out my feelings because I just think about it a lot.
Mm-hmm. So would you say, or it seems like what you're saying is that with you and your kids, you have pretty clear set boundaries and expectations, and you hold that value of parenting very seriously. And while your boyfriend, it seems like obviously he is a loving father, that maybe just those boundaries aren't really there, and that's sort of what is causing the challenges in your relationship.
Yeah, I think that is I think you said it well. There's just not, he hasn't really provided maybe as much structure because he doesn't have them as often. And he wants to be really fun when he's with them. And so to bring those kids around my environment, which also, I mean, definitely I'm not so structured, but I don't know. We somehow need to come on like more equal, I don't know, come to terms with some kind of like equal rules or something. So yeah, that's probably our biggest thing.
Have you guys ever spent time just talking about what your clear boundaries and roles in parenting look like?
A little bit, and he appreciates that, but then it's always me bringing it up, and then sometimes I just feel like I'm like, I have a hard time trying to say it in a way that I don't feel like it's going to hurt his feelings or that he's going to get on the defensive, because, you know, somebody was talking about my parenting and kind of giving me advice, I would probably be really pissed off. Even if it was coming from a loving place, it would be maybe hard to take. So
it seems like, although you have brought it up, maybe just because you're thinking of how you would feel if somebody brought it up to you, it sort of made you more hesitant to bring it up to your boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you have any suggestions on, like, I don't know, something that would be good for us to, maybe we should talk about it, or?
I think that that's obviously a great thing for you guys to talk about, but I'm not here to give you suggestions. What I would love to do is just to kind of get you thinking about what you can do to help in that area in your relationship.
Yeah, okay. I do need help. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I was also thinking to talk to other friends maybe that had gone through similar, you know, situations that have stepkids or something, because you hear, and I was actually even like reading stuff up on the internet, but then you kind of can really it's almost like WebMD. It can kind of freak you out because people start doing some really weird stories. So, but maybe talking to more friends that have been through similar things to get some opinions from them, I guess, on ones that have gone well. I don't know, but everything I've read has kind of said like each situation is so different. There can't really be a template that works for everybody. But I guess one big thing is I was looking at houses today, and we had talked about, maybe getting married and moving in together. But the more I'm like freaking out about all this stuff, it makes me realize, I told him today, he was coming with me to look at the houses, and I told him, you know, I don't think that I can move in with you anytime soon, and I'm in I'd like our relationship to work, but I just feel like it would be too much too soon, and so I feel like that was maybe hard for him to take, but at the same time, I want to work through these issues before we get married and before we're already all living together, and then what if it goes really bad? I'd rather figure that out now rather than later once we're all under one roof.
As a whole, are you saying that you think that you have a great solid relationship besides just this one thing with boundaries and roles for raising your kids?
Overall, there's definitely some other things too. He was raised pretty different than I was, so that's a big one too. But overall, I feel like he's a really good guy. We have a lot of fun together. He really cares about me and would do anything for me or my kids. But I don't know. There is a lot of differences, but that's not necessarily bad. It's just, I don't know. It's all kind of new still.
But I guess, how much does it mean to you? Like, I guess, if everything else in your relationship was for the most part going well, how much of a factor do you think it would be if you guys aren't able to really talk or come to an agreement about raising your kids?